So I just want to welcome everybody here. And if you're new here into the group, or this is the first time you're joining me on a Friday morning here in Spain, I go live every Friday morning as much as possible, depending on circumstances, here in the group, talking about what has turned up for me over the week, during the week, with the horses, with myself, with the environment. Usually it's quite random. However, the last few weeks, we've been exploring the senses of our horses and how we interact with them and how we can, by understanding them better, we understand our horses better and why they do what they do and how they interact. So we've already spoken about touch and smell and sight. And here we are talking about sound or hearing. So go back and look at the other lives that I've done and the posts. So, like I say, welcome. And today we're going to be talking about hearing in the moment, how horses hear. And I think hearing for horses is one of the most finely tuned parts of a horse's world, and one that I think of, and I encourage you to think of, as a true superpower. So I would like to explore here what horses hear, how they interpret, and how we can use our own voices, even something as really simple as humming, to help them find safety and regulation. So I think the first thing to acknowledge is that horses hear what we don't. Horses hear both lower and higher frequencies than we do, which means that they are tuned into sounds that we simply cannot detect. And there's nothing we can do about that. That is by our biology versus their biology. And of course, it depends on age. That affects our hearing. If you've listened to a lot of very loud music, guilty, that affects our hearing. And because of the differences in frequency, even if we have perfect hearing, because of the differences of the frequencies that they have compared to what we have, this is part of why they react when we even haven't realized anything is happening. So their hearing range is roughly between 55 hertz and 33.5 kilohertz, so 1,000 hertz. And ours are roughly 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So even though on paper our range is lower, so 20 compared to 55, horses are able to combine what they hear with vibrations through the ground and through the air, allowing them to tap into a much lower range or hear things on the lower scale before we can. So, for example, a low rumble is picked up both through sound and through feel. So they might feel an approaching storm before the rumble of the thunder, and certainly before we do. On the high end, it's a little simpler because obviously they have a much higher range. So when they hear something, particularly the sharp sounds, squeaks and whistles and screeches and shouts, etc., they pick up on that way before we do, actually, because of the range that they have. So they might hear that bird song before we hear. We might never hear it if it's at a certain range. So for our horses, hearing is never just about the sound. It is constant information tied into that balance and awareness, which has an emotional impact on their regulation. Hearing is part of the threshold that they live in and that they are regulated to. And because hearing is so acute, particularly to those sudden or sharp sounds, this can push them into a sympathetic state, so the flight or fight zone, before they've had time to think. So we sometimes will say that they're spooking at nothing, but the truth is they are responding to information that we cannot perceive. And this is where our own sound really matters. Horses don't just hear what we say, they pick up on how we say it. The tone, the steadiness, the rhythm, all of this signals safety or stress. So our voices become part of the environment that they are interpreting. We can help them through that. And one of the simplest ways that I find helps them and supports our horses is through humming. So humming activates our own parasympathetic nervous system. So the system that is rest and digest, the calm state. And it slows our breathing. It softens our body and signals calmness. When we hum low and soft near our horses, whether we're leading, grooming, or simply standing beside them, they often begin to shift with us as we offer them that open door to calmness. And you might see that lick and the chew, which is often accredited to a calming signal. Or, in my opinion, more importantly, a softening of the eye or a lowering of the head, as they literally embody the humming, the calmness that we are providing them. Be really clear though, be really careful, and I want to be really clear that this isn't a cue. This isn't something that, oh, my horse is a little bit off, I'm going to start humming, it's going to cue, they're going to come down. No, this is something our horses need to feed, to lean into independently of what we're offering them. If we're looking for a real calm state, a true state that we can trust that they are below that threshold now. So it's about offering them a nervous system rhythm that they can sync with. Horses are masters of co-regulation, and sound is one of the bridges that we can offer to understand that moment of regulation. We often talk about wanting to understand our horses, which I applaud and think is brilliant. But often to do that, we need to understand ourselves. And we need to understand where we're at, where our nervous system's at, so be able to offer them that moment of co-regulation, that bridge that they can cross, or we can join them on in a moment of joint calmness. And humming is one of those things that we can use that is available to us to help us do that. So I often hum Que Sera Sera. I love the rhythm of it. It's gentle, particularly if we slow it down. And the words remind me to surrender to the moment. So Que Sera Sera, what will be, will be. And that reminder in myself often translates to more softness in the horses that I'm with. So the next time that you're with your horse and they feel unsettled, let's say you're leading them and something is creating an arousal in their nervous system, or that you're sensing that they're just above threshold and they're a little stuck there and they're not able to come back down, try humming softly. Notice what happens in your own body first, because it comes from us, that the understanding of ourselves first. Then watch to see if and how your horse shifts. Now, it might seem like a really small act, but you know, those micro moments of safety, of offering safety, add up. And they remind us that hearing isn't only about sound. It is about the moment, the presence in that moment, and the connection and the rhythm we share. I often say, I'm sure you've heard me say it, that when horses are in a calm, balanced state, they're in rhythm. They graze in rhythm, they walk in rhythm, they trot in rhythm, they breathe in rhythm. And horses are very rarely out of rhythm unless it is a fight and flight, then the rhythm is lost, or play, which is obviously a positive state. So I would love to hear from you if you have noticed your horse responding to the tone of your voice, or even to humming or singing. I'm not going to sing personally. I will stick to humming. And please share. Please share it either here below this live in the comments, or create a post of your own, because I would really love for this circle to become more interactive. I don't want it just to be my voice that you hear. There's many minds in this group that are incredible, and I think we learn from everyone, no matter where we're at in our journey. I certainly learn a lot from the students and clients that I coach, and I definitely learn something from every horse that is in my care, whether they are my own or other people's. So next week, as we have looked at touch and smell and vision and now hearing, next week, I guess if we were sticking with the senses, it would be taste. However, taste is not a sense that has as much meaning, has as much necessity to understand when it comes to emotional balance and regulation, and how we can connect with it, and how we can influence in a positive way, or vice versa. It's quite a singular experience. It's a fascinating one, how they are able to distinguish between what is good and what is bad, and how taste is individual. So I think we will touch on it, but I'm not sure. I mean, I can if you like. So please, again, in the comments, you can say, yes, please talk about taste. Or recommend something else that you would like to talk about. Otherwise, I will be talking about what comes up in my week and sharing with you what the herd has been teaching me, or the other horses in my care. But for now, I'm going to wish you all an amazing weekend, and go out there and start humming. I can just imagine, I've got this vision now of everyone going out and humming, and it all being a little bit weird. It's not weird. It is a gift that we can give ourselves to help us bring ourselves back to rest and digest, and connect with our bodies, and feel that vibration in our bodies, and understand how important that is to our horses, and help them do the same. So take care, and that's all I have to share with you today. So bye for now.